Today, I was reading in Writing Down the Bones, Freeing the Writer Within on a chapter called Tap the Water Table. And as I began to look into that more deeply about what she was saying, it made me think about our area that we live in. Our aquifer is the Ogallala aquifer. And as we see here, it's 82% of our water in this area of what we use to drink from. And as I look through here, this area has an overarching area before that water table called the confining unit. It's caliche, really. And it can break through to the surface in natural areas called a playa, but most of the time in the panhandle, we have to find a way or a teaching tool to get to the water, to drill down, to do that. And I think that's what the Writing Institute did for me, is helping move beyond that impermeable, confining unit that kept me from reaching my students or reaching what I wanted to do as a writer. The chapter actually has two main points, and I want to stop and think about what those are. The first one I've kind of already covered is that we really have to do something to help people, students, come to that aquifer and drill down through there so that they don't approach writing from a deficit mindset or just a simple lack of practice and skill. It's the how of how we go about viewing our writing practice, as well as how we teach people to actually do those things. Goldberg says, don't worry about your talent or capability. That will grow as you practice. Katajiri Roshi said, compatibility is like water table below the surface of the earth. No one owns it. And it wasn't compatibility, it was capability. Sorry, I needed to read that right. No one owns it, but you can tap it. You tap it with your effort, and it will come through you. So I think that happens right here. We have to figure out how we tap that writing element that's there that gives us the skills that we need to be able to reach that and bring those things out from the surface of ourself and into the pool of paper and ink and ideas that we can use to nourish the other things that we want to do with that water and that writing. I think that's another reason why it's so important to have multiple drafts going and multiple pre-writing strategies that help you break through that confining unit so that you have those ideas that you can use to write with as ingredients. So just practice writing. And when you learn to trust your voice, direct it. If you want to write a novel, write a novel. If it's essays you want or short stories, write them. In the process of writing them, you will learn how. You can have confidence that you will gradually acquire the technique and craft you need. That's so powerful, is that what we do as teachers is we build our capacity to help students do that for themselves. And that's why this training is so powerful for me as a writer and as a teacher of writing. Goldberg goes on, instead, people often begin writing from a poverty mentality. They are empty and barren, like the ground covered with caliche. They run to teachers and classes to learn about writing. We learn by doing it. That's simple. We don't learn by going outside of ourselves to authorities we think know about it. I had a lovely fat friend who once decided he wanted to start exercising. He went to a bookstore to find a book so he could read about it. You don't read about exercise to lose weight. You exercise to lose pounds. And now she moves into her next point that I think is so powerful. The terrible thing about public schools is that they take young children who are natural poets and story writers and have them read literature and then step away from it and talk about it. And then she has this poem, The Red Wheelbarrow, by William Carlos Williams. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow, glazed with rain water beside the white chickens. You know, I think a lot of times we kill writing by analyzing literature. What did the poet mean by the red wheelbarrow? Did he mean a sunset? A chariot? And why was it glazed with rain? So many questions. He meant nothing so much as a wheelbarrow, and it was red because it was red and it had just rained. So much depends on it because poems are small moments of enlightenment. At that moment, the wheelbarrow is just as it was. Woke Williams up and was everything. And I think that's has two pieces of it. There are things that we can do with our imaginings and our interpretations of poems, but to have that mindset that there is an answer that you can find in the poem that is somehow a universally agreed upon meaning needs to go away. Poems are taught as though the poet has a secret key in his words, and it's the reader's job to find it. I think this is one of the reasons why I always began my fifth grade poetry units with, I hate poetry. Poems are not mystery novels. Instead, we should go closer and closer to the work, learn to recall images and lines precisely as the writer said them. Don't step away from their warmth and fire to talk about them. Stay close to them. That's how you learn to write. Stay with the original work. Stay with your original mind and write from it. So I took Natalie's ideas and what she made me think of and the structure of the poem to see what I could write about. And I wrote 2 stanzas. So much depends upon a wise teacher writer, galvanized with knowledge and pedagogy, unconfining, freeing other writers. So much depends upon a wise teacher reader, freed from old criticism, galvanizing readers to find their own meaning.